You're tuned in to the Foxboro Beatcast, a podcast for Patriots fans by Patriots fans. And here are your hosts, it's Kaleb McKinstry and Ryan Moore.
What is this? 2 shows in a week? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Foxboro Beatcast, as we call it over here, the Beatsides, everything not Patriots related. Ryan is back with me again after a long time no see, right? It's been a while.
Yes, sir. It's only been like a couple days. Where you called my dog an accessory, which I can't forgive you for.
Oh yeah, I did. I did have a rant about little dogs. We are joined by one Tristin McKinstry of ClutchPoints, lead NHL writer at the. Tristin, how are you?
I'm doing all right.
Especially after that praise.
Yeah, that's high praise coming from people that I hold in high regard, so I appreciate it.
High regard, yes. This is the number one Patriots podcast and about to be the number one hockey podcast on the planet. We are here to talk about the 2024-2025 NHL season. We put together a full Google sheet of predictions with awards and what have you. We'll talk about some of the things that have been ongoing. But first things first, Tristin, after I just cut you off, what I should have done first is let you introduce yourself to the people. This is the first time they're seeing you on camera every now and again. In the old version of the Beatsides, you were there, but they didn't really see you. Now they see you. So give them another chance. Just introduce yourself, what you do, what you know, and all that good stuff.
Well, so I'm I as Kaleb mentioned, I do work with ClutchPoints. I've been working at ClutchPoints for about 2.5 years now. I'm not the lead writer.
I'll call you that anyway.
Section. I have a lead editor who is an incredible guy, super knowledgeable and all that. I'm happy to have somebody like that work on the section with me. But I've been working with them for about 2.5 years. I'm an associate editor with a focus on the NHL. Just covering news every night when the games come up. We do editorials every now and then for certain series. Right now, we're working through each flaw that a team may have to fix this season, and all that kind of stuff. I also grade contracts and trades and stuff. It's been a lot of fun. It's a dream come true, and I appreciate all the work that we've been able to do with this, and we're just getting better and better as we go along.
Will we be talking about a contract that you graded today? Will there be a grade on any of the contracts that we bring up, especially one that pertains to me specifically?
One of them I know for sure has a grade that actually 2 of them. I did the grades for those last night. But I don't think I did the grade for another one that we'll talk about.
Alrighty. Ryan, why don't you introduce your hockey knowledge? What do you know? What is your expertise?
Well, I am a diehard hockey fan. Comes with the territory.
Of course, you're Canadian.
Yeah, I knew that was fucking coming. But along with that, I am a diehard Columbus Blue Jackets fan, repping my Johnny Hockey shirt today. Start of the season tonight. I just like
the
Tristin,
Bruins start tonight too. I don't know what anybody's talking about a game that happened 2 days ago.
What happened in Florida besides the hurricane?
No, seriously.
All right. All right.
Just like Tristin, man, him and I are both like just absolute lunatics when it comes to puck, man. Like,
no.
Let's try that again.
Oh man.
Want to go again, Ryan? We missed that last 15 seconds.
Oh, for fuck's sakes! You know what? I am so fucking tired of my internet.
Are you on data?
Went back to it.
Okay, you should have been there in the first place.
It was lagging the last time we were doing it, man.
And it cleared itself up. Have faith in the process.
Have faith in AT&T to carry me. Yeah, no, just like Tristin, I'm a fucking lunatic when it comes to hockey, man.
Well, you're Canadian.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to the season, man. I'm really looking forward to everything that's going
Maybe
on.
the
this
first
year.
time a Blue Jackets fan has said that.
In a
Well,
long while, yeah.
I'm not looking forward to the Blue Jackets season, but I'm looking forward to the hockey season because I think this is probably the most wide open the league's really been in some time. Like, I don't know. Do you guys like have any teams that are like you see it like well above everybody else in the league right
I'm the
now?
wrong person to ask about that.
I mean, I
Tristan?
don't know. I don't know necessarily if there's a team that I think that's well above everybody in terms of skill. I do think that there's a good point in there about the parity of the league being insane this year, because it was kind of showed itself last year too. Because when we entered the Stanley Cup final or Stanley Cup playoffs last season, there really wasn't much of a favorite. There were some teams that made compelling arguments for being able to go for. Like Florida was one, and obviously they were the ones that won.
Mhm.
And you had a team like Edmonton who always has a case every time they make the playoffs, considering their top two players. And then you have the emergence of Evan Bouchard through the postseason and all that. They finally put it together. Then you have teams like the Dallas Stars. The Maple Leafs are always going to have an argument because of the talent they have on paper. They just, again, it's a case of putting it all together. You had teams like the Winnipeg Jets who played really well in the postseason. Looked like they finally had a system that kind of worked for their issues that they've run into in the postseason. Like it really didn't seem like there was a team that was like the year before, the Bruins. Like the Bruins were the team because they had won 65 games, set the record for the most wins in the season, just dominated.
And that's where the story ended.
And yeah, it just felt like it was the Bruins. It was the Bruins year. Last year we didn't really get that. This year it's really tough to say that there's a single team that is like the absolute like odds-on favorite. There are a few teams that could do this thing.
You want to get into it?
Yeah,
let's get into it. First things first is handle some business. Recent extensions. I mean, we'll just start with this one. Beloved Boston goaltender Linus Ullmark signed a 4-year, $8.25 per contract with the Ottawa Senators. Basically the same deal as Swayman, just half the years. But we're going to talk about Ullmark first. What is our initial reactions to that deal? What's it do for Ottawa? All that fun stuff. Ryan, I'll let you go first.
I thought it was really interesting that they gave him that AAV, knowing that he's never played a game for the Senators. Like, we know he's done with Boston, but if you look at what the Ottawa Senators have been like the past, really since like they got eliminated by the Penguins back in, I think, 2017, they really struggled to ice competent hockey teams. And I look at this under a new ownership. They're really kind of desperate to flip things around there. I don't know how much I love this contract, truthfully. Because like Ottawa has struggled defensively the past couple of years. Like their goaltenders have really struggled. We saw, Jonas Corposalo go there, and I mean, I know he turned into a pumpkin with Boston, but he was a total pumpkin in Ottawa too after a really solid season in Columbus and in LA. I think it's the very risky move, truthfully, and if it burns you, then you're looking at having a goaltender that is making 8 point whatever on a team that just doesn't. Until I can see it on a year-by-year basis from the Senators, I don't trust them to give their goalie the best opportunity to shine.
Tristan, what's your grade?
Thoughts on the Ullmark contract.
So yeah, this is one of them. This is one of the 3 I did grade. I did kind of refresh my memory. I graded 3 of the 4 contracts we'll talk about today. For this one, I gave Ullmark an A plus, I believe, and I gave the Senators an A minus because I don't mind this from the Senators' perspective because Ullmark is statistically, and has been for a few years now, one of the best goaltenders in the league. As a matter of fact,
Vezina winner.
Among goaltenders who have played 100 games since the 2021-22 season, he leads the league in save percentage. There isn't a goaltender who's had a better save percentage than him. And also, just like some more, if you want to get some advanced stats in here, he also ranks 3rd in goals saved above average, 5th in goals saved above expected, and 5th among WAR in goaltenders since 2022 or 2021-2022. Counting stats, if you just want to go on ESPN and Hockey Reference and look at those, he's got a really solid track record. The lowest save percentage that he has recorded in a season in which he's played 20 games is .913, and that was his rookie year when he played 20 games. This is a player who is one of the best goaltenders in the league. So yeah, there's risk because he is on the wrong side of 30 now. He's not getting any younger. But this is a 4-year contract. It's not going to burn them too much, I don't think. You didn't give them what like Igor Shesterkin's going to get from the Rangers soon, and we'll talk about that later. This is like when they signed Korpisalo, they expected him to kind of play hero, I think. Where they looked at a player who had some really solid seasons, but just hadn't really been able to put it all together into like one elite season. Well, now they've got a goaltender who has put it together in an elite season, and yes, he's played for Boston for the past 3 seasons, I think.
Yep.
Started his career with the Buffalo Sabres. A lot of his track record has come from the Buffalo Sabres, who historically aren't that great. So I think this is a fine deal. Obviously, there's risk, but it is only 4 years. I don't think it'll burn the Senators too much, and that's kind of my take on that.
I think it's more so just I don't trust the Sens. I don't trust that org until they can give me a reason to trust them. Allmark's a great goalie, for sure. But he'll be, 32? 33 when that contract starts? How old is
He's like 34 or something.
I was looking this up right now, Linus Allmark.
Hey, he'll be 35.
He's 31 right now, so he'll turn 32 when the contract starts.
When it starts, yeah. He'll be 35 when it ends. My apologies.
Yeah. I don't trust the Ottawa Senators to put the right kind of team around Allmark. And until they prove me wrong, don't know how much I love them paying a goalie 8.425? Like
8.25.
8.25. Okay.
He got the same AAV as Swayman.
Yeah, I don't like
I'll make this point quick because I don't think we need to. We got some other things we got to talk about. I think that I understand those concerns, but I think that when it comes to Allmark, given his track record and given where he is counting stats wise and analytically, that doesn't matter where you look at it. He is one of the best goaltenders in the league. So it's not Korpisalo where you're like, well, he could do these things. He could, be that savior, if you will, in net. Instead, you're looking at Allmark, who you don't want him to be the savior, obviously, but you can expect him to do more on his own, make the saves that Korpisalo couldn't, because he's shown that he can do that, and that's like he doesn't have to rely on his defense as much as Korpisalo or some other goalies in the league is the overall point.
That's
speaking of Bruins goaltenders, Jeremy Swayman finally got his deal. It was a very long, very drawn out, very messy contract negotiation. I'm shocked that they got it done when they did, following Cam Neely's 4 million reasons comment. But he ends up getting 66 million reasons to come back and play for the Bruins. It is an 8-year, 8.25 AAV contract for Swayman after finally kind of taking the reins and being the full-time starter last year. And winning a playoff series against the Toronto Maple Leafs, which should pretty much just enshrine you to the Bruins Hall of Fame when we get there. Instant reactions, Tristan. I'll let you go first with this one. I know that you got grades, so let's see it.
Yeah, I did the grades for clutch points for this one too. I gave Swayman an A+ because I think that the public context around this to get more than the 64 million, then like we'll get into the whole Cam Neely thing in a minute, but to get more than those 64 million reasons to come back to the team is just fantastic. And I was pretty hard on the Bruins. I'm not gonna lie. I gave them a C+. I think the contract is like outside of the context, the contract is fine. This is a fantastic contract for the Bruins, I think, because this is a goaltender who has the potential who's already one of the best in the league, and that is backed up by analytics and whatever. Who could get even better because he's only 25 years old. Like by the time he's in like year 3 or 4, he might be one of the most like underpaid goaltenders in the league if he continues on his current trajectory. But the public context to go out in public and try to like put pressure on him the way that they did when Cam Neely goes on that press conference and says, well, you know, he's got 64 million reasons, or I'd have 64 million reasons to come back, whatever the specific wording was, to go up there and try to put pressure on him publicly to play ball or whatever. And then for you to cave, because that's what they did here. They caved. Like they threw the $64 million figure out there thinking like, oh, he'll be scared into wanting to come back. And you pay more than admittedly, because I think either Don Sweeney or Cam Neely have like gone on public saying that they paid him more than they initially like budgeted for when the offseason began. To make that kind of a gamble and for it to not pay off is a really bad look, I think. So, you know, the deal I think is going to age fine because I think Jeremy Swayman again is one of the best goalies in the league and he's just going to continue to get better. But you can't go publicly and blast the guy, put him on and put everything out in the open, and then, you know, panic. It feels like kind of giving him this contract right like a couple of days before the season just felt like it was a panic move from the Bruins. That's kind of my take on that. Ryan, quick thoughts?
Yeah, I honestly agree with a lot of what Tristin said. Like the way I like the contract for Swayman, obviously. I mean, he secured long-term security and, you know, an ass ton of money. I really hate how this turned out for the Bruins, and I really hate how everything, you know, transpired here. I just, you know, why are you going to the media saying that shit? I don't get it. And this is a Bruins administration under Neely and Sweeney that have just done really bizarre things. Like, you know, you look at how they fired Bruce Cassidy or whatever. They just decided it was just like a random summer day. Like, hey, we're going to come in here. We're just, you know, Don Sweeney's just going to show up at your doorstep and fire you at your house.
For the record, I was not a fan of that move.
And granted, Montgomery's been excellent. So, like, at least in
he got the most out of Bergeron that last year.
Montgomery's an excellent head coach. But it feels like the Bruins have a process of making everything way more difficult than it has to be in their front office. Like, I understand that there's talk about like the agent that Swayman has. His name's Louis Gross. He represented William Nylander when he had his very public spat with the Maple Leafs, like back in 2018. I'm pretty sure like it was an RFA negotiation. That shit went till like the literal last minute, like December 1st. I understand that, and I understand the agents got a big part to play in this, but I really don't like going to the media and just lambasting your players like that during a negotiation. And I know that they got things done and solved. I just not a fan of it. With that being said, good on Swayman. Good on Swayman. 8 by whatever, 8.25. Great work. It's great contract for him. And I think it will age really well for the Bruins. Just like the Montgomery shit.
Once again, everything kind of just turns up Bruins when we need it to. So my initial reaction, glad it's finally done. This was probably the most annoying story of second most annoying story of the summer. The first one being Joe Milton actually being quarterback 1 for the Patriots, which everybody knew wasn't happening. But yeah, I didn't like it from Swayman's perspective the whole summer, going on a podcast and just talking about how he went to UMaine. He knows business classes. He deserves he should be resetting the market, yada, yada, yada. Didn't love it. And then when Cam Neely goes to his press conference and talks about 64 million reasons, didn't love that either. But eventually they met in the middle. Swayman wanted 8.5. Bruins wanted to pay him 8. You meet in the middle. You make 8.25. Bim, bam, dumb deal. Don't have to hear about him complaining about arbitration anymore. Don't have to worry about not having a goaltender because, God, after Florida, we really need him. He should be back in net tonight against Montreal from what I saw. So, yep, very glad that deal's done. Certainly helps the Bruins. And, let's move on to the next contract. We have, let's go with this one. Carter Verhaeghe, 8 years, $7 million per, adds up to $56 million with the Florida Panthers. Ryan, initial thoughts?
Love that contract. And I love it because Carter Verhaeghe, although, you know what, he is 29 and will turn, I believe, 30 next season when the contract starts. He is one of the, like, sneaky, like, elite goal scorers in the NHL. Like, this guy, I'm just pulling up his stats right now.
He was the one guy who didn't score against us on Wednesday or Tuesday, excuse me.
Yeah. Since joining the Florida Panthers. So I should also say this right now. He has one of my favorite stories in the NHL because he started out with the Maple Leafs organization. Got traded on like their media day or whatever. Got sent to the Islanders. Basically bounced around their AHL and ECHL team, so like the second and third tiers of hockey. Somehow, you know, continues to work and play his way onto the Tampa Bay Lightning organization. Gets his chance, plays 52 games there, scores 9 goals, 4 assists for 13 total points. Nothing super impressive in 52 games. He goes to Florida on the cheap. 18 goals, 18 assists, 36 points, 43 games. The next season, 24 goals, 31 points, 31 assists, 55 total points in 78 games. And then in 2022 is when he truly took off and became this stud goal scorer with 42 goals, 31 assists, 73 points, and then 34 goals, 38 assists, 72 points in 76 games last season, including, I want to say he was one of their best playoff performers last year as well. It'd be really fucking nice if they would load. Oh, here we go. Yeah, 21 points in 24 playoff games last year, and 17 points in 21 games in 2022, 2023. This guy's a stud. He's a late bloomer. Obviously, if you look at his career, like he didn't really get going until he was like 24, 25 years old. But now that he's got it all together, he is someone that I think is going to be a perennial 30, 40 goal scorer in the league for the Panthers. And while the term is definitely a little risky, that AAV is real nice.
Tristan, what do you think?
So this is the last contract that we'll talk about today that I actually did grade. This was the last thing I did on shift last night. I gave Verhaeghe an A- for it because the only reason I docked him down a little bit is because I actually think he could have gotten more had he hit NHL free agency next summer. And for the Panthers, I gave them a B+ because I do think there is a lot of risk here that like some people aren't really like. This is a contract I feel like they might have really needed to do because they lost some pretty key pieces this summer, where Brennan Montour went to the Kraken, Oliver Ekman-Larsson went to the Maple Leafs, Vladimir Tarasenko went to Detroit. You know, you're losing some of these, you know, key people who aren't necessarily like superstar level players. Though Montour was probably has been one of the better offensive defensemen in the league for the last couple of years, especially when healthy. Losing these types of key pieces can start to add up. So keeping Verhaeghe around and keeping him around for long term is something that I think Florida needed to do. However, from the team's perspective, I do think there's a lot of risk because there's the 8-year term. You're giving this 8-year term to a player who's only really been I don't want to necessarily say elite, because I don't think he's an elite, but like that next tier below elite type of player. for 2 seasons now. He scored 30 plus goals in the past 2 seasons. One of them was a 40 goal season. Like, he's a great goal scorer, don't get me wrong. But he's only really been a great goal scorer for the last 2 seasons. And the final point is that they don't have a lot of options with this contract. If things don't go right, they can move him, right? The $7 million, especially with the salary cap jumping up, is like, that's movable. But for the first 5 seasons of this contract, he has a full no movement clause. So from the team's perspective, like, they can't really do anything until the 6th year of this contract, unless he gives his complete authorization for it, which is great from the player's perspective. Like, I'm not begrudging Verhaeghe at all. This is just from the team's perspective. But even when we get to the modified no trade clause, it's 20 teams in the 6th year, and then it's 16 teams in years 7 and 8, according to Puckpedia. So he still nearly has like complete say over the next steps. So overall, this is Verhaeghe is I think one of the things that Verhaeghe is also that doesn't really go noticed for the Panthers is that he's one of the most clutch players in the league. Like, he scores in big moments. Bruins fans know what I'm talking about.
Shut up.
That whole run doesn't happen in 2023 if he doesn't score in Game 7 against Boston. So
it doesn't happen if we don't blow a 3-1 lead.
That's also true. But
Is it really hard to win just one goddamn game? Anyways,
this is overall, it's a great. He's a great player, not necessarily elite. An important part for this team. He's a 2-time Stanley Cup champion now. And from his perspective, this is a fantastic deal. I like it a lot. But there is some risk for the Panthers, and I think that, overall it's a deal they needed to do, but it's not a clean deal, if that makes any sense.
Sticking with you.
So, can I make a point real quick about the Florida Panthers? Okay. They are going to be one of the worst teams in the NHL in the 2030s. They are selling their souls for the fucking 2020s, man. I'm looking at their contracts right now. Barkov, contract expires 2030. That's one of that's one of the best centers in the NHL. Matthew Tkachuk, contract expires 2030. Sam Reinhart, contract expires 2032. Anton Lundell, contract expires 2030. Carter Verhaeghe, contract expires 2033. Looking at their defense, Gustav Forsling expires 2032. Dmitry Kulikov, contract expires 2028. They got a whole bunch of guys, man, that are locked in long term, dude. Like,
if you win a couple cups, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, got to keep that core
exactly.
Again, man.
What I will say though that's really interesting is after next season, Sergei Bobrovsky's $10 million comes off the books. So
that's
it. Anyways, Joey Decord to the Kraken, 5x5. Tristan,
I didn't grade this contract.
We get the exclusive grade.
This is probably
this is Foxboro Beat breaking news. We have the initial grade.
I don't know if I'll necessarily grade this, but I want to throw a couple because I've been following Joey Decord's story for the last couple of years because he's been mostly like a backup goaltender for a little bit, and then the never really had a chance to really become a starter. And then last year he kind of hung on with the Kraken. The Kraken have historically had some goaltending issues ever since they came in the league a couple of years ago. So Joey Decord received an opportunity to be one of their starting goaltenders, and he ran with it. I mean, here's a fun fact. He is, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he is the only goaltender in the history of the Winter Classic to post a shutout. He shut out the Vegas Golden Knights last year, like 3-0 or something. But I want to just quickly give you you know what? Hold on, I gotta. Well, here I'll give you this.
I'm just looking right now.
Here's a quick. So I've been bringing up WAR, right? Evolving Hockey tracks WAR for hockey players. The top 3 goaltenders in WAR last year. Connor Hellebuck was 1 with the Winnipeg Jets. Jeremy Swayman was 3 with the Boston Bruins, and Joey Decord was 2 with the Seattle Kraken. He had a 5.1 WAR last year. And we go ahead and do, goals saved above goals saved above average. He was 4th in the league in goals saved above average last year. He was, let's see here, he was 12th in goals saved above expected. He had a really good season last year.
Dude,
so
he put up a 916 with the Kraken.
He had a fantastic season on a team that didn't go to the playoffs and just wasn't really built for that. That lost a lot of depth and didn't really make the playoffs. This is a fantastic contract for Joey Decord. I'm not too keen on like the particulars whether he's got a trade protection. I would assume he might.
I'm looking right now. I'll check for you.
The Kraken believe that he can be better. I do think there's some risk here for the Kraken because, again, you're giving him this contract off of one season, and this is the most volatile position in the league.
So,
but I digress. It's a contract.
Sorry for interrupting real quick. He has all throughout the contract a 12-team no trade.
Yeah, but like there you go. He gets some say over his next steps if this doesn't work out. It's an easily movable contract. Again, the cap's going to be going up in the next couple of years. It could be $100 million by the end of the decade. This is a fine contract for the Kraken. Shouldn't hurt them too much. It's an incredible deal for Joey Decord, who, what that means for his family is insane. And if he can continue to be one of the best goalies in the league, this is going to be an incredible deal. I'm happy for Joey Decord, man. I hope he continues having success.
Anything else to add, Ryan?
Yeah. So just quickly, I really love this contract for Joey Decord. Looking at just his career, he really struggled in Ottawa. Like I said, Ottawa just not defeating the allegations yet of being a shithole for goalies. His first couple years in Seattle, 5 games in 2021, 2022, had an .850 save percentage. Holy shit. 5 games played in 2022, 2023, 900 save percentage with a .315 goals against. This year, though, this past season, 2023, 2024, he broke out, man. 916 save percentage with a .246 goals against and 50 games played. I don't know how much I love this for the Seattle Kraken. And the reason why I don't know how much I love it is because I look at, and here, I'm going to bring up the Blue Jackets here for a sec. I look at when we extended Elvis Merzlikins for 5 by, I think it was like 5.5 or 5.6 or something like that. And after that contract extension, he fell off a cliff after a couple solid years of starting. I hope for Seattle's sake that Decord doesn't completely fall off like Elvis did. But there is a lot of risk to these kind of 1 year, 2-year wonders. Like I look at I'm sorry, Kaleb, and sorry, Bruins fans, for bringing this guy up. I look at Jordan Bennington, who got a massive contract extension.
What a prick.
With the Blues after that, legendary 2018-2019 run he had.
I've also heard that he's a gigantic prick.
There are some people around I think some opposing players are not particularly fans of him, but I mean,
he's a bit of a villain dickhead on the ice. But listen, he's the kind of guy you'd love.
Very good. Rest in hell, St. Louis.
I think there's a lot of risk for Seattle. I love the contract for Decord, and I hope he lives up to it for his sake and for Seattle's sake, because I want to see Seattle be great.
So you guys think I hate paying goalies? This thing is absurd. Igor Shesterkin, 8 years, $11 million he turned down, and he just shut out the Penguins the other night. So $11 million per 8 years feels insane to me. I'll say it. 9 felt insane to me for Swayman. 8.5 would have made my stomach nauseous. Ryan, I'll leave with you. What is Igor's game here? Can he get more than $11 million? And is there a goalie worth more than $11 million?
I think if he has a career year in a contract year this year, yeah, I think he could, in the open free agency market when the cap is going up, get more than $11 million. I'm looking right now at his career stats. In his rookie year in 2019-2020, had a .932 save percentage.
Very good. Very good stuff.
2020, 2021, 916 save percentage. 2021, 2022, 935. 2022, 2023, 916. 2023, 2024, a little bit worse, 913. So he has, if he plays up to it, potential to be the best. Well, he can be the best goalie in the league when he's dialed in. And if he plays dialed in all year and hits that open free agency market, or holds leverage against the Rangers, because they're another team, like I talked about Florida, right? They're mortgaging basically their 2020s to their core and shit. So they are going to be held by the balls if this guy has a career year. And he's been underpaid. If you're looking at it right now, he only makes $5.66 million. So if he's going to be commanding a pay raise, and it's going to be major, man. I can't wait to see how this all plays out. I hate the Rangers. So
yeah, I mean, I wrote about this last night, I specifically wrote about what he said after the game, because Igor Shesterkin was not interested in talking about his contract after beating the Penguins last night. As a matter of fact,
as they should be. I think contract talk is during the season is a bit gross.
Yeah, the exact quote was, quote, "I don't want to talk about my contract. If you want, we could talk about our team. We played a really good game today, so I can talk about Mancini, the Laffy goal, like everything else." That was from Newsday's Colin Stephenson, by the way, so shout out to him. But
way to handle
it. So he was not interested in talking about this. And I mean, personally, I can't think of a goaltender in this league that's better than Igor Shesterkin right now. He had the down season last year, like Ryan pointed out. He had a 913 save percentage. That's his career low. That is the lowest save percentage he has posted in the 4 full seasons that he's played in this league. Dating back to 2020, he is second in the league in save percentage and second in the league in WAR. And when it comes to the more advanced stats, like goals saved above expected and goals saved above average, he is goals saved above average. He leads the league in goals saved above average, and he is second in the league in goals saved above expected. And he outpaces goalies who are comparable to him, and or at least goaltenders, not necessarily comparable, goaltenders who are in similar contract situations, like Linus Ullmark. He outpaces Linus Ullmark in those more advanced stats. Ullmark has a better save percentage since 2020, but that's about it. And UC Saros from the Nashville Predators, who just signed, who probably would have been a candidate to get a $10 million contract because he's been very good, one of the more elite goalies in the league as well. I don't remember off the top of my head what Saros got from the Predators, but he got a big contract. Again, Shesterkin outpaces him. The only goaltender who's really comparable to Shesterkin, I think, the only one who is like a true case for best goalie in the league outside of him is Connor Hellebuyck. And I mean, I know Connor Hellebuyck signed a contract worth less money. I don't remember. I think he signed a matching contract. He makes the same as Mark Scheifele. That happened the same day. I remember that much. But no, this is a goaltender who has played himself into a class of his own. There is, I find it very hard to argue against the fact that he's going to get an $11 million contract. The fact that he turned it down is interesting, because I figured, you just take the $11 million. If he has a really good season this year, he could absolutely hit free agency at some point and get himself 12 or 13, especially with the cap going up.
I would.
So
I don't know if I could get myself to do that as a.
I know there's the conversation around paying goalies is very hard, because this is the most volatile position in the league. Goaltenders who are really good last year will struggle this year. I mean, Philip Gustafson with Minnesota Wild's a huge example of that, when he was really good in 2020, 2021, or 2021, 22, and then he struggled last season. It's hard to really do that, but if you're going to pay anyone, I do think it probably should be the goalie, because the goalies are on the ice for the most of they're the only position on the ice that plays a full 60 games when they're on there, or all full 60 games, full 60 minutes. My apologies. They're the only goalie is the only position that plays the entire game. So if you want one position to be locked down and one position to have some security, and it's going to be a goaltender.
You guys want to rip through these predictions?
Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
I'm
do
done.
it.
Let's do nothing. Let's not go through every 31 teams and give our full breakdown. Try to keep the quick points. Make it quick. Make it snappy. I can give you one long rant for your favorite team. I'll put my hands in the air for that. But otherwise, let's rip through these standings very quickly. Why do you have somebody winning? Why do you have somebody in last place? Quick stuff like that. Let's get right into it. I'll start because I don't want to take away shine from all of you guys. I'll go east and west, and I'll throw my hands up and I'll bring it to whoever I think deserves to go first. Let's start with the East. In the Atlantic, first place. This is a very good regular season team. When it comes to the playoffs, they just kind of brewing it up. So, yeah, this is kind of my Super Bowl is them chasing a President's Trophy or something. So I'll have them finishing first in the Atlantic. I think they're good enough to do it. Jeremy Swayman coming back. He'll be the full-time starter here. He should be comfortable because we, just paid him. He'll be very happy. He should be in net tonight against Montreal. I have them taking first place. Not necessarily President's Trophy. I'll get to who I have winning the President's Trophy in a little bit. Second place, Toronto. Third place, Florida. And Florida's, it's not going to really matter. Like, they don't care about regular season. They're going to rest up. They're going to use all this time as they possibly can to go towards the playoffs and then just wreak havoc. Tampa Bay in fourth. In fifth and sixth, it was a toss-up. I'll buy in on the Senators. I like a couple of their players. I like Linus Ullmark. Sixth, I'll have the Detroit Red Wings. Seventh is the Buffalo Sabres. And in last place, the Montreal Canadiens. And they will be seeing last place very shortly as the Bruins take out all of their frustrations from Tuesday on them. In the Metropolitan Division, I have the New Jersey Devils taking first place. And I have them winning the President's Trophy. I'm buying the hype. I'm ready for it. And they'll get swept in the first round because that's what President's Trophy winners do. New York Rangers in second, like a lot of their players, like a lot of what they're doing. Third place, Carolina. Fourth place, the Islanders. I could see them making a push for the postseason. They're one of those tough, gritty teams that just kind of make everybody's life hell. Fifth, Washington Capitals. Ovechkin should probably win, should probably break that record this year if he doesn't have that monumentally slow start they did last year. Sixth place, Pittsburgh Penguins. Seventh place, Philadelphia Flyers. Eighth place, Columbus Blue Jackets. Hopefully they can win the NHL lottery, get themselves right. In the West, notice how I didn't say that Frank Saravelli line.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah.
I have a feeling a lot of these standings are going to be similar to you guys because I have no idea what's going on in the Central. I got Dallas Stars finishing first, Predators second in the Central. Avalanche third. I think that they could easily make their way up to the first two spots. Fourth place, the Blues. Fifth place, the Minnesota Wild. I do believe in Kirill the Thrill Kaprizov. Winnipeg Jets in sixth. Blackhawks in seventh. And the Utah Hockey Club, which I believe are now going to be called the Yeti in the coming years.
That's the current rumor, yeah.
And in the Pacific, the Edmonton Oilers finishing first. Connor McDavid, can't bet against them. The Vancouver Canucks in second. I think both those teams are really, really close. The Kings in third. The Vegas Golden Knights in fourth. This is a very good division. Those first four teams, I could see a case for any of them being moved around in any spot. In fifth, the Kraken. In sixth, the Flames. In seventh, the Sharks. And in eighth, the Ducks.
Dude, the Pacific is so feast or famine. Like, the first four teams, elite. The rest of the teams, not great.
All right, Ryan, I'll let you go first.
All right.
Go east to west, and then we'll go to Tristan.
In the Atlantic Division, I have the Maple Leafs taking.
Boo this man.
Yeah.
Boo
me. Here's the thing. They're kind of in like a last dance type of situation, and they have guys in contract years, Marner and Tavares being the key ones. They upgraded their defense. Their goaltending got upgraded. I see a team that I think is going to, kind of put it all out in the line and get eliminated in the first or second round. But I think they're going to be regular season warriors, especially with their new head coach, Craig Berube. I have the Bruins in second because, they're still an elite hockey team. Honestly, it's interchangeable. It could be Toronto or Boston for the top two. But I think Toronto's going to have multiple career years in their team that push them to the top. Florida in third. They are arguably the best team in the Atlantic, but after playing, back-to-back years in the Stanley Cup, they're going to probably have some fatigue in the regular season. Might drop a few games they should win. Tampa in fourth for the same reason of, like, the core is just kind of, they played a lot of games, but they're still an elite hockey team. They're going to be great in the regular season. They're going to make the playoffs. I don't know how far they'll go, but they're still great. I have Tristan's Red Wings in fifth. I think they're going to, I don't know about taking the next step, but I think they're going to play well. I got Buffalo. Like, by next step, I mean like make the playoffs, but I think they're going to be like kind of like the last team eliminated. I have Buffalo in sixth, and it's mostly banking on a lot of the talent around the team. The rest, I still don't know how much I like Lindy Ruff being their head coach again, but I think they'll be all right. I have Ottawa in seventh, and it's until I can see it, I won't believe it type of situation with them, and Montreal in eighth, and I would have actually maybe had Montreal higher than Ottawa if Laine was playing, but he's not. And they also lost their one of their most promising young players, in David Reinbacher, too. I have the Rangers in first. I have the Rangers winning the President's Trophy for what it's worth. I have the Devils in second. I have the Hurricanes in third. I have the Islanders in fourth. My most interesting pick here is the Philadelphia Flyers in fifth. And it's because Tortorella always gets the most out of any team he's on. And they just got an electrifying new rookie to add into this team that is drawing Kirill Kaprizov comparisons. Funny enough, you mentioned Kirill the Thrill. I have Washington in sixth. It's kind of just, I don't, they made a lot of moves in the offseason. I don't like, they got Pierre-Luc Dubois as their number one center. Do any of you guys believe in the Ben Simmons of hockey? Because I don't. I'll never believe in that guy. Pittsburgh in seventh. That team is literally just Crosby and like old ass Crosby.
See
Old
what
ass
happens
Eric
when
Carlson.
Fenway Sports manages your hockey team?
Yeah. It's literally a bunch of old men. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to doubt Sidney Crosby because he's still elite, but like, you shouldn't, at this stage in Crosby's career, he shouldn't be the only kind of player that can truly backpack your team. Like, that's asking a lot for 37-year-old Sidney Crosby. That the Penguins, man, they're in for some really rough years in the future. And then in eighth, unfortunately, I have my Blue Jackets, and I guess I can do my rant here or whatever, talk about them for a sec. This team is fucking cursed, man. I'm actually genuinely convinced. Like, obviously, the tragedy.
The vibes are going down, fellas.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is the reality.
It's getting real
of my
depressing
team,
in here,
man.
y'all.
So you tragically lose your best player, like a month before the fucking season starts, and like I'll say, just please don't drink and drive. It's not that fucking hard, people. Really not that hard. And then you lose your captain and one of arguably your like probably your third best player. Basically for the entire season. They're saying Boone Jenner will not be back until March. So there you go. You lost your number one center and your captain. And then one of your promising young players, one of the guys I was genuinely looking forward to watching this year, Dmitry Voronkov, is going to be out for a couple months to start the year. So that's going to stunt his development. I always like want to look forward to, the hockey season, even though we suck, because it's like, I love the sport. I love this team. But I'm like, dude, can we just have something go right for us, please? Like, just one time. And not in the Frank Saravalli kind of like, oh, Johnny Gaudreau from above is going to bless you guys as number one overall pick. Like, shut up. Like, I want to see this team just do something on the ice that just puts a smile on my face again, because it's been shitty. Sorry to bring down the vibes. I'll go back to better and brighter teams. Going to the Western Conference, I have the Dallas Stars in first place in the Central. I think they're the best overall team in hockey right now. They're their right side of the defense is like admittedly fairly weak, but like their forwards are just like it's like they literally have like a couple of first lines, and then like the rest of their team could be like second or third lines, like everywhere else in the league. It's stacked. I have Colorado in second because I love McKinnon and Makar and Rantanen. I think those three are just going to be monsters, and especially with Rantanen in a contract year, he's going to go off. I have Nashville in third. I think they're one of the. I think they have one of the busiest off seasons. They're going to be fun. They have an elite goalie. They have an offense that can score. Finally, their defense is pretty great. They're a good team. I have Winnipeg in fourth. Once again, another really good team. I have Utah in fifth, which Caleb, I can't believe you have them in last.
What?
Utah.
Screw them.
They're good though. They're a good hockey team.
Screw them.
See, that's the Arizona bias in you coming out right there.
Yeah, it is, and I don't care.
Blame the owner, blame Alex Morello, not.
Last place. Get a real name, you bums.
They're gonna be. I think they're gonna be much better than last. I have St. Louis in sixth. They're kind of like the most average, mediocre team in the league right now, in my opinion. I have Minnesota in seventh. It's essentially a couple man team.
Respect to Huth.
Off.
Respect to Huth.
Sorry, dude. Okay, even Huth knows that the Wild are just mild. They're the Minnesota Mild, man. Like
you're stealing somebody's whole flow. I'm not gonna mention it. You're stealing the flow right now.
All right, I have the Blackhawks in eighth because it's kind of just Connor Bedard and a bunch of guys.
Sometimes that's enough.
It could be Bedard's him, but I have Edmonton in first because they're gonna be going all out to try and win the cup this year. They're after the slow start last year. I think they'll be a lot better. I have Vancouver in second. I think they're a great team. Obviously, I have Vegas in third. LA in fourth, Seattle in fifth, Calgary in sixth, San Jose in seventh, and Anaheim in eighth.
All right, Tristan, you ready to go?
I am.
Bring it.
Yeah, I'll shoot through these quick. I think Boston's gonna win the Atlantic. I think that they added two pieces that they needed to add in Nikita Zadorov and Elias Lindholm this past summer. So I like them to win the Atlantic. The other two divisional teams, the other two playoff teams out of the Atlantic Division from the division itself are the Florida Panthers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Finishing fourth will be the Tampa Bay Lightning. They should still make the playoffs even after losing Steven Stamkos. My Red Wings are in fifth. I am very concerned about our goaltending, and I'm honestly concerned about the coaching overall, but we can talk about that later. In sixth is the Ottawa Senators. Seventh is the Buffalo Sabres, and eighth is the Montreal Canadiens. I actually like Montreal.
I'm glad we could put those Frenchies in last place together.
I do like Montreal. I just think they need another year or two before it all kind of comes together. So for the Metropolitan Division, we have the New York Rangers winning the division. This is
I'm the only one who's believing the Devils hype. All right.
No, I had the Devils in second. It's not that I don't believe in the Devils hype.
Second.
Yeah, it's not that I don't believe in the Devils hype. I just think that right now the Rangers on paper have probably the best team in the league. I think there are some holes, but I think that there's, and if this is a group that's kind of getting up there in age, but I think that the Rangers are the best team in the league at this point in terms of like on paper talent. Devils are second though because they added, Brett Pesci's a good addition. I know he's on the injured reserve. When he comes back, he'll be big. I have Jacob Markstrom being one of the more improved goalies in the league. Carolina's in third. I do have the Washington Capitals in fourth, but this is a very heavily loaded thing because they could either be fourth or, hot take, I think they could honestly probably finish last. And maybe that could be the one of the more bolder predictions, but the Capitals have a very boomer bust offense. They added a bunch of players in the offseason that were good offensively, just not last season. So it's a whole like a what if type of thing there. The Islanders are in fifth. I think that they're kind of coming to the end of the road of where their contention window is. I have the Penguins in sixth. I have the Philadelphia Flyers in seventh. Matvey Michkov is going to be very good. I'll talk about that once we get to the awards section. However, I don't really buy to the rest of the team, and I don't think they buy in all that much. But again, we can talk about that later. And I have the Columbus Blue Jackets unfortunately finishing last. But I do think they'll put up more of a fight than I think a lot. I think a lot of people are looking at the situation that happened with everything in the summer and losing Boone Jenner for a good amount of time. There's a lot of negativity around the team, and I think a lot of people are kind of writing them off. They're not going to be. I don't think they'll finish higher than last in the Metro, but I think there'll be a more competitive hockey team that people give them credit for. I think.
If I can say one thing quickly about them, I do
Quickly.
think Dean Evison, if he gets them anywhere outside of the basement, he should have serious Jack Adams considerations.
For the Central Division, I think we all have the Stars finishing first in the Central.
Yep.
The only reason I know that
It's a
think
curse.
Ryan said that Ryan had said that they were the best they were the best team. They have an argument for that. I think I just don't like the losing Chris Tanev is a huge blow. I think Jake Ottinger during the postseason said he was the best defenseman that he's ever played with, which is insane to say about a player you've only played half a season and one playoff run with. So I think that's a really big loss, and I don't really think they truly kind of patched that. I have the Nashville Predators finishing second because I do expect, at least for the first season, Steven Stamkos and Jonathan Marchessault and Brady Shea to play incredibly well. And I'm also very high on UC Saros this season, as again we'll get to. The Colorado Avalanche third. I have the St. Louis Blues fourth. I feel like I'm higher on the Blues than a lot of teams. I think that Robert Thomas could have a really good season this year. Jordan Kyrou had 2 goals against the Kraken in their opening season win on Tuesday. This is a team that it could be really good, especially if Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg, the 2 offer sheet signings, end up panning out. I have the Winnipeg Jets in fifth. I'm a little concerned about them. I know they had a really good showing against the Oilers last night to beat them 6-0. But overall, I don't know. I look at this team and it just doesn't really inspire me. It didn't really fill me with much inspiration in terms of their future prospects. Still a good team, but I'm not too sure. The Utah Hockey Club have gotten 6th. I think they'll be a very underrated team. They'll fight for a playoff spot. The Minnesota Wild in 7th, and I actually had them in last place before like last night. I think I changed it. It was a very late change that I made, but they have the Minnesota Wild in 7th because I don't see the Chicago. I think the Chicago Blackhawks will be better, but I don't think they'll be enough to overcome the Wild. So the Blackhawks will finish last in the Central. And then finally in the Pacific, I have the Edmonton Oilers winning the division. I think that also they have a case for being best team in the league, although they didn't show it last night. The Vancouver Canucks are in second. I have the Kings finishing third. I like some of the additions that they made. I think Tanner Jeannot could probably play pretty well there outside of the Lightning. Warren Fogle was a great signing for them as well. I have the Vegas Golden Knights finishing fourth. And again, this is another team I think is probably going to start coming to the end of their competitive window. They have a lot of questions on that roster. The Seattle Kraken are going to finish fifth. I have the Calgary Flames in sixth. I have the San Jose Sharks in seventh, and the Anaheim Ducks in eighth. I have the Sharks over the Ducks. Those are very similar teams, but I think the Sharks did more this offseason to actually get better, and they did more to to change up their group from last year, whereas the Ducks really kind of just trusted in their own guys. And although that's a very admirable strategy, I think that they need to do something externally outside of Robbie Fabry and Brian Dumoulin. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
All right. And we'll rip through the awards. Bold prediction. We'll get out of here. I'll go first. The Stanley Cup champion, I have the New York Rangers. I think there's just a lot of high-end talent on there. Hard to bet against them. Hart and Art Ross both go to Connor McJesus himself. The Rocket Richard Trophy, David Pastrnak, got to get Bruin in there at some point. James Norris Trophy, went a little different when Adam Fox. He's going to be really good if the Rangers are going to win the Cup, so might as well just stack up on that. The Vezina, let's go Jeremy Swayman. You pay him 8.25. You better be Vezina consideration. Excuse me. The Calder. And when I looked at DraftKings, this guy was like, if you bet against him, you're an idiot. Matvey Michkov. And then serving as my bold prediction, Lady Bing, Brad Marchand. Why the hell not? And let's go to your awards.
Am I going next or Tristan go next? Sorry.
You're going next.
I'm going next. Okay. I have because Dallas Stars winning the Stanley Cup.
Boo.
Like I said, I think they're the best team in hockey.
Yes. Boo.
McDavid wins the Hart and Art Ross, as expected. I have the Rocket going to Matthews, just because I think Austin Matthews is the best goal scorer in hockey right now. I have the Norris going to Cale Makar because it's the best offensive defenseman award, and Cale Makar is leaps and bounds above, I think, everybody else as an offensive defenseman. Vezina Trophy, I have Igor Shesterkin taking it because it's contract year. He's going to be locked in.
That adds another couple million to his salary.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? He's going to be going all in. I have the Calder. I changed it. I had originally Macklin Celebrini, the first overall pick by the San Jose Sharks, winning it. I changed it to Matvei Michkov, and it's because of how high I had the Flyers. I'm thinking, hold on, I gotta sneeze. Bless me. I have the Flyers in fifth in the Metro, and I think if Michkov gets them to the playoffs, he's the slam dunk, especially if he's the star of the show. And my bold prediction for this season is, while I have McDavid winning the Art Ross Trophy, in second place, and someone that I think will be going almost neck and neck with them this year, is Mitch Marner. And it's because I have him racking up so many assists to Austin Matthews, and it's a contract year for him. He's been under a lot of scrutiny in Toronto. I think he's going to put it all together and get himself a mega bag with,
right,
I don't know, the Leafs or whoever. But we'll see. That's my bold prediction. Tristan?
Rip it.
All right. So my Stanley Cup champion is the Edmonton Oilers. I think the Oilers, again, this is a team, even after last night, I think they'll be fine. They showed that they can be fine after a nightmare start last year. I think that they're going to kind of follow a Florida situation where they have too much talent to not win with Draisaitl and McDavid. And I think they kind of address one of their issues where they are a top heavy team. They add Victor Arvidsson and Jeff Skinner in the offseason they're still top heavy, but it's more of a balanced thing. You're not playing Corey Perry in the second line anymore, and that's going to help you a lot. Art Ross in the Hart Trophy again are going to go to Connor McDavid. He's going to be a major reason they end up going winning the cup this year. He is one of 3 players in the league in NHL history to score 40 points in a postseason ever. Just an incredible player. The Rocket Richard Trophy I have going to David Pastrnak as well. I think David Pastrnak he was more of a playmaker last year, but I think he's going to kind of rediscover that scoring touch. He can score, 60 goals in the season. That's not out of his wheelhouse, I don't think. My James Norris Trophy, I think this might be a bit of a bold prediction. It's not the one I'm going with, but it's I have Miro Heiskanen from the Dallas Stars winning the Norris this year. He is kind of starting to put his stuff together a little bit, and if he can find a little bit more consistency, and he can, he could really become one of the best. He's already one of the best defensemen in the league. But he could really establish himself as elite this season, and I think that for the Stars to win their division, they're going to need a big performance from Miro Heiskanen this year. My Vezina is UC Saros from the Nashville Predators. Again, this is a team that he's got a better team in front of him, but he is a goalie. He's one of those goalies who can make those saves that other goalies really just can't, and he's going to help the Predators out pretty bigly. And then the Calder Trophy is Matvei Michkov with the Philadelphia Flyers. One of the things I do at ClutchPoints that I didn't mention at the top of the show is I'm the one who does the NHL draft stuff. I do mock drafts. I am paying attention to the prospects and stuff.
Do the Bruins have a first round pick this year?
I believe you do.
Cool.
But I don't know that off the top of my head. But the one thing that I bring that up to say that the only reason Matvei Michkov went where he went in the draft, he went 7th in 2023. The only reason he didn't go second in that draft, or potentially first, was because of his contract situation. Teams did not expect Matvei Michkov to come over until 2026 at the earliest, but he's here now. He had an incredible season in the KHL last year, in the Russian system last year. He is going to be one of the most dynamic players in the league, and I think that we'll see that a lot this year. This is not to say that Macklin Celebrini won't have a great season with the Sharks. I think he will, but I just think that Matvei Michkov could have one of just an incredible season and emerges the best rookie in the league. My bold prediction is going to be with coaching, actually, because last year we had a lot of coaching turnover. I think we had 8 coaches fired midseason, which is somewhat unprecedented. I want to make a prediction for the first 2 coaches fired this year.
Oh boy.
And the first coach fired this year, I think, is going to be one, may not be the most bold prediction in the world. And to be fair, the fact that both these coaches could be fired midseason, I don't think would be a bold prediction, but happening as the first 2, I think is, pinning down the specifics.
Yeah. If you parlayed it, it'd be some pretty good odds.
Yeah. My first prediction for the first coach fired is Mike Sullivan with the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think that they have playoff expectations this year. I don't think they'll meet them. They did not look good at all against the Rangers.
Well, if he gets fired mid-season and it turns around,
Yeah, that's also true. But I just think that they're going to need, because you're not trading Crosby now because you just signed an extension. Malkin's sticking around. You're not trading, Letang. Carlson's not you can't move with the players now. When Dubas just got there, he hasn't had a chance to really hire his coach. So getting rid of him doesn't make any sense. Someone's going to have to fall on the sword at some point, and I think that Mike Sullivan would be the one who ends up doing that. And the second coach fired after him, maybe not immediately or whatever, but at some point this season, second coach fired, I think, will be John Tortorella with the Philadelphia Flyers. I think he's lost.
Ryan disagrees.
I think he's lost this locker room. I don't think the players are buying into his messaging. They were a playoff. This is the thing. They were a playoff team last year. They were 3rd in the division for most of last season, and they just fell off a cliff. And it's more than just this being a young team and inexperienced. Their
goaltending sucked ass. To be fair,
I'm not disagreeing with that, and I do think their goaltending still sucks.
When Tristan finishes, I'll give you 1 minute for rebuttal.
This is a team that I think they're looking at what they did. They got close to the playoffs. They were into the playoff discussion until the last day of the season, and yes, that was a surprise. But I think that they want to start moving forward now because they show that they are in a position where they can move forward. But I do think that I just don't think that they're buying really into John Tortorella's messaging. John Tortorella's a great coach. Don't get me wrong. This isn't really him an indictment on him or anything. But I think that he has a very, very specific style, a very specific system that if it works, it produces great results. But if it doesn't, then you just kind of got to move on. And at this, I think that the Philadelphia Flyers are going to come to a point where they're just going to say, we're going to move on and we're going to get it. We need a new voice in the locker room to carry this forward.
All right, Ryan, you have a minute starting now.
All right, my rebuttal is that while I can see why you would think that, dude, their goaltending last year, people don't talk about it enough. They literally had their starter get arrested mid-season for sexual assault.
I understand that. Yeah, that's not lost on me.
But then they had their other guy that they were looking forward to get kidnapped by the Russian government. So they were kind of stuck starting AHL caliber guys in net. They finally got Ivan Fedotov, who was kidnapped by the Russian government. He's finally in North America. He's someone that a lot of people are really high on, really productive in Russia. I could see them trading for a goalie as well to add into the room. I don't know, man. I don't think yet. I think the thing is about Tortorella is he always gets more out of teams.
10 seconds.
Okay, and when it wears off, it wears off. I think we're in year 2. It'll be year 4 or 5 when it wears off.
And that's your hockey show, everybody. Tristin, Ryan, thanks for joining me. Hopefully we can meet back maybe All-Star break, kind of rehash everything. And maybe even sooner if we get the itch. Tristin, thanks for coming on. In a quick 10-second blurb, can you tell everybody where to find you?
Yeah, ClutchPoints.com/author/Tristin McKinstry. That'd be my author page. You can find me on Twitter at a lovely degree 160. I'll be covering games throughout the season. Once we get into at some point soon, I've started creating my first mock draft for the 2025 draft. I haven't gotten that far yet. But I've started kind of going through that, so hopefully I'll get that out soon. And then once we get closer to the trade deadline and stuff like that, I'll start doing trade stuff and all that. It's gonna be a fun season. I can't wait.
Ryan, once again, thanks for coming on. This has been the Foxboro Beatsides. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow Tristan on Twitter. Go look at his articles. Very good. And we will see you all next week when we cover Patriots versus Texans, Drake May's debut, all that fun stuff. So looking forward to it. Thank you for watching. And as I pull up my outro video here, because they didn't set it up for me. Oh, brother. Come on. Where is it? God damn it. Guys, it's a convoluted process. Thanks for sticking with me. Outro. Boom. There it is. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all next time.
Thanks for tuning in to this edition of the Foxboro Beatcast. Make sure you like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.